Morning. I hope everybody is doing well, holding up in isolation or semi isolation. If you're a fundraiser and not in essential services, I do hope that they're letting you work from home. Um, Last week, there were a lot of indications that some nonprofits were still making their fundraisers come into work. Um, and while I think that fundraisers are essential to nonprofits, surely, but all of our work can be done via distance. So I do hope that you're not running into any issues with that. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about self care. And I mean, it's become almost a cliche, a buzzword, but I think it's really important right now. And it might be even the most important thing that those of us at home can do. Um, because if we take care of ourselves, we'll be able to better endure this period of isolation, of quarantine, and we'll do our part by staying home and making the best of the situation and continuing to do our jobs from home and minding our own mental health. Um, so so let's talk about that because nonprofit work is already considered to be one of the most stressful, and fundraising among the most stressful positions in nonprofits. I think there was a statistic back in August from the Chronicle of Philanthropy that says 30%, almost a third of all fundraisers plan to leave the field entirely within 2 years. And that was before the massive changes that have now been wrought by coronavirus. So, what can we do to build our resilience so that we can continue to support the nonprofit sector, which is going to be much needed during this time and in the recovery? Because you're talking about things like higher education institutions, which are struggling to go online. You're talking about hospitals are nonprofit entities. So fundraisers are going to be essential to the recovery of this. So our ability to manage our own mental health and physical health and take care of our well-being is crucial to this crisis. It's one of the most important things that we can do now so that we can abide staying home. And it's one of the most important things we can do in an ongoing fashion to support our industry and thereby society as a whole. So, and you'll forgive me, I'm going to end up touching my face because I have massive seasonal allergies, and I know for a fact that, that I'm itching really badly this morning. So self-care is, there's a great definition I like. Self-care is any activity that we do deliberately to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical health. Deliberately. It's not just going to happen. So if we just go with the flow and kind of let ourselves, there's a place for watching a lot of Netflix and chilling out and eating comfort food. There's a place for that. But a lot of times self-care is not about bubble baths. It's about treating ourselves, keeping our promises to ourselves, and treating ourselves as a involved parent would treat their children. So you might, kind of push yourself to go for a walk if you can still get outside. You kind of push yourself to do that yoga even if you feel sluggish and tired, because afterward you're going to feel better, and you know that it's going to be good for you even if you don't have the direct motivation at the moment. So it's about keeping our promises to ourselves and doing the things, finding the particular areas that you get the most benefit from the least amount of time invested in terms of self-maintenance and self-care. So that may be 5 minutes of meditation, but you might find that you need more than that. Other people, meditation may make them more anxious because they feel they're not doing it right. So they might like something more active and engaging. So whatever it is, you have to look through all the different areas of your life and decide, what can I do right now, given the restrictions of our particular situation, to keep my mental, physical, and emotional health in tune? Can I keep my life do some things to reorganize my life? Can I say no to some things right now that would give me more space to breathe and thereby allow me to perform in other areas better? That's really important. I know I've taken on a lot since the coronavirus happened. I'm trying to support my church in going online and helping them get up to speed with the technology. I've really ramped up my efforts on my blog to provide more resources to people. And I don't want to let any of those things slide right now, but I do know that, last week I was doing really great and taking care of my physical health, getting my 10,000 steps a day on my Fitbit, getting outdoors when I could. And I slacked off on that this weekend and early this week because my children were home and we were starting to homeschool and get back into the swing of those things. And I sacrificed the things I know I need to do to care for myself. And by midweek yesterday, I wasn't doing well. I could tell I was anxious. I could tell I was overwhelmed. I could tell I was starting to kind of just get in that mood where I wanted to throw my hands up in the air and forget about most of it. And I said, I need to get back to always return. And that's a maxim of meditation, is if your focus wanders, bring it back to whatever your point of focus was, if it was your breath or if it was a mantra or whatever. And I kind of use that with I call it my practice, and my daily practice of yoga, meditation, and exercise. And that's my grounding of self-care. And so when I start to feel that way, I start to say, how can I bring it back? Make the return back to how I can take care of myself so that I can be the best fundraiser, the best parent that I can be, and feel good about doing that and not feel like a martyr that is sacrificing oneself to the cause of their organization or to the cause of their family or to making everything run smoothly for everyone else. In order for me not to feel resentful, I have to take care of myself. And that sometimes means setting those boundaries and saying no. I will say for some people out there, you're going to need emotional support at this time. So I would encourage you to make sure you're connecting with some kind of community. And for some people that may be online therapy right now. For others that may mean FaceTiming with a strong friend group. I know people have been setting their phones up and having FaceTime friends at dinner. For others that might be more formal, like attending 12-step meetings online or on the phone. And they have both of those options available for folks now. So if you're struggling with any sort of addictive behavior or patterns, there's still help while you're in isolation. And that there's so many ways that you can reach out. You make sure that you're in touch with your faith community. And even for folks that are not traditional believers, if you're not a believer in Christianity or a theistic religion, I would encourage you to explore the Ethical Culture Society and see if they have online services. I would explore Unitarian Universalism. That's my faith tradition. And they're much more ecumenical of beliefs that are not even traditionally considered religious. But having a faith community at this time will really help you with your self-care. Humans are not, we're not meant to be isolated. And that's not what we're built for. So making sure that you're taking care of all aspects. Using this time wisely to enrich your intellect. So can you read books that you've been meaning to read? Can you take classes? Can you watch documentaries? You don't have to do those things. Let me be clear. You don't have to do any of this. But for me, I find that since I am in an industry where there's a lot of pressure to perform, Fundraisers have a very quantitative job. We get evaluated based on our results. There's a lot of pressure there. 84% of fundraisers say they feel tremendous pressure to succeed in their role, and 55% of us feel often unappreciated at work. So those are the two leading causes of the 30% of fundraisers that are thinking of leaving the industry. And again, all of that was before coronavirus and all of those massive changes. So now there's going to be even more pressure as organizations scramble to meet their goals, scramble to retain donors in this environment and with the economy unstable. So there's a lot of techniques that we can use to mitigate that. But if the actual staff members executing these plans don't have a sense of personal resilience, it's not going to matter. And it's not going to work. So if we care about others around us and we care about our organizations and their mission, it's really important that we actually do the work of taking care of ourselves. So it's the whole maxim of put your own oxygen mask on first, figure out your own formula, your practice of what you need to do. Could be a spiritual practice, could be physical, could be a mixture, could be an emotional practice where you're journaling and or again you're going to 12-step meetings or reaching out to your faith community. Whatever it is, whatever your unique combination is that supports you in your work and in feeling good so that you can, again, that you can abide the situation that we're in now and rise to the challenge of it. I think everybody should be reflecting upon this right now. And some of that also means, as I said, that there's a space for eating comfort food and watching Netflix and just chilling out and enjoying the people that are around us now. We're going to be with them a lot. We need to find a way to enjoy them. So that may mean playing games and watching movies with your kids and your family or your roommates, and connecting with them in a way that you normally don't have time to do. So think about all those aspects, because again, I think the most important thing that we can do right now is take good care of ourselves in the way that a parent would take care of a child, to make sure that they do the basic things that they need to do to be their best and their healthiest. It's the most important thing that we can do, because it's going to help us to survive and thrive in this current environment that we have. And it's going to help us to have the resilience that we're going to need to help our organizations recover when this crisis passes. And all indications are that this may be a situation where we have to retreat to a more isolated state repeatedly over 18 months. That's going to be really hard on everyone. So, the going in and coming out of isolation, the going to an office and then having to go back to working from home for several weeks, that may happen. And you're going to need some kind of practice to ground yourself and ground your day and keep yourself sane and healthy. So to that end, I am putting together my next webinar. I had really only had in my mind that I would do one webinar a month. But in this situation, I feel like more resources for folks is better. And so I'm going to go every 2 weeks for a little while. Because again, folks are at home. You have time to participate in some of this stuff, many of you. And we can do it all via distance. So I'm going to put together a whole deep dive webinar on the topic of self-care for nonprofit professionals. We're going to look at some of those statistics that I was talking about and more about what fundraisers say they like about their jobs, what they don't like about their jobs, what are the signs of nonprofit burnout. And I've got 8 categories of self-care that we're going to brainstorm ways in which you in particular can work on that. And that doesn't mean that all the ideas you come up with that you have to have the pressure to implement that, not at all. But after you generate all the ideas, you're going to pick a few and just try them out for a couple of weeks and try to do them every day, every other day, and see how it makes you feel. Does it improve your resilience? Does it improve your outlook and attitude and make you feel less burnout? Are you more energetic when you approach your work? Are you more patient with your family. That's a big one for me. I can always tell when I get impatient with my family that I need to go back to my practice and recommit. And so we're going to do a deep dive on that. And that's going to be on Wednesday, April 1st. So that's next Wednesday. It's going to be 12 Central. So that will be 1 o'clock for our Eastern time zone people. And for our West Coast folks, it will be at 10. So we're going to do an hour and do a deep dive on self-care. And you can register for that. It's at realdealfundraising.com/self-care webinar, all run together as one word. And I'll post the links posted on my Facebook page here and in the group Real Deal Annual Giving. So I'm going to be putting that information out. I hope you'll sign up. I really am passionate about this topic. I have struggled with perfectionism, imposter syndrome, anxiety, and even a really bad bout of postpartum depression, which really took a toll on my life and my work performance for a long time after my daughter was born. So I've learned a lot of coping strategies. I've learned what works for me, I'll say that. And I've kind of developed through trial and error a methodology for how to think about this and how to put your practice together for what supports you. So I'm hoping it will be really helpful to folks. And I can't really see the chat here. Let's see if I can pull up the chat and see if anybody has said anything now. No, I can't figure it out. So I'm still experimenting with Facebook Live, but I'm putting myself out there and doing things that slightly scare me and put me outside of my comfort zone. And that's always a good practice too, to help us grow. So I do hope you'll join us on April 1st, and maybe my allergies will be a little bit better by then. But everybody stay at home. If you unless you absolutely cannot stay at home, try to stay at home and take care of each other. And that's the most important thing right now. Take care of ourselves, take care of each other, because that's the biggest gift that we can give the folks working in the hospitals right now, is to keep ourselves at home and healthy. And I hope that you start thinking about these issues now, and then a week later we'll do a deeper dive on this on a webinar. And I'll put some articles about this topic on the blog. There's one on imposter syndrome out there on the blog that is really in depth. It's quite long, and it goes into a lot of self-care strategies, because I think self-care is crucial to that feeling of not being good enough. So self-care cultivates self-worth, which allows you to feel real and to own your successes. So anyway, it's been awesome hanging out with you today. I'm going to be on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, trying to get more active on there, at JCloudRealDeal. And tomorrow, I'm so excited because the phenomenal donor relations guru, Lynn Wester, a lot of folks in the fundraising industry, especially higher ed, know Lynn. And Lynn Wester is going to participate in a tweet chat with me about this topic. So if you're on Twitter, I encourage you to check it out. It'll be 10 a.m. Central tomorrow for probably 30 minutes to an hour. We're just going to go back and forth with questions. And I hope a lot of folks join us. But Lynn has a unique perspective on most things, donor relations and nonprofit, all topics in those areas. So Lynn has strong opinions, and I'm eager to hear them. So that'll be fun tomorrow on Twitter, and then I'll be on Instagram in about 10 minutes. So I appreciate all of you and what you're doing to support your organizations and to stop the spread and flatten the curve, and take care of you and yours. And I hope everyone is healthy. And yeah, so we'll see you on Instagram in a little bit, and on Twitter tomorrow, and hopefully next week on a Zoom webinar. So check it out. That is, again, realdealfundraising.com/self-care webinar, all one word. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.